Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona, reference 116519LN. This is the debut from 2017, combining ceramic bezel, white gold case, Rolex steel sunburst dial, and the Oysterflex strap. The total package for summer 2018, you can purchase this Rolex Daytona on our website. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and of course click on our card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch, with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Rolex Cosmograph Daytona in white gold with ceramic bezel. Now, the first ceramic bezel Daytona surfaced in 2011. We saw a bit of a sequel, the second wave, in 2013 with the chocolate bezel anniversary Daytona. The dam broke in 2016 as the steel watch gained a ceramic bezel, but Rolex had one more act, and that was to combine the Oysterflex strap with a precious metal case, a stunning array of tone-on-tone dials, and yes, the Cerachrom bezel. This watch brings it all together, an easy watch to wear on my 16cm circumference wrist. It has consummate comfort for everyday use and all-weather, all-condition applications. 40mm across the round of the case, not including crown guards, and chronograph pushers. This is not the super case. Make no mistake, it's a more sensuous, compound curved, fluid, old-school Rolex case form, though updated since 1988 only in the most minute details. Nevertheless, this is the most revolutionary change to the fit of the Daytona since the arrival of that first Zenith-powered model, because 40mm, you know that it's thin, only approximately 12.3mm thick with a sloped bezel and a sloped sapphire. And you know lug-to-lug that a Daytona case, almost across the board, is going to be 47.7mm. But it wears true to size because of the strap. And previously, if you got a Rolex Daytona on a factory strap, you were strapped with some kind of leather, and you never really were in a position to take advantage of those screw-down crowns and the 100-meter water resistance. So if you were wearing your watch at the 24 hours of Daytona, you would have to forego any activities on Daytona Beach itself. No longer. The strap itself wears wonderfully comfortable. It is not a strap in the strictest sense. It's better described as a rubber-clad bracelet, and that's how Rolex regards it. Now you can see it's nicely detailed right down to the imprinted Oysterflex in its flank. It's all vulcanized rubber. You can see the conforming end links and the recess that allows it to move with freedom despite the fact that there's no daylight between strap and case. It's a highly integrated look. You can pull it straight down around the tight curve of a small wrist. What sets it apart is the combination of coherence. You can see the taper perfectly matches the taper of the lugs. The central spline matches the flourish of the end link. But it is really the underside and the bellows system, because there are only a couple of Oysterflex sizes, and as I mentioned, it is a complete metal bracelet underneath the vulcanized rubber cladding. You can't cut it and you can't resize it, so there needs to be some mechanism in place to get close and then cinch the strap down and fit it to a wrist to which it might not otherwise perfectly cinch. And here you can see that there's a bellows system that acts almost as a spring buffer, so that you put the watch on your wrist, the bellows compress, the tension increases, and without actually aggressing against the wrist, it provides a secure and snug fit, while also allowing aeration on a hot day so it doesn't cause moisture, heat, sweat, grit, and oils to get stuck against the wrist. So clever on a couple of different fronts, both fit and aeration on a hot day. It's paired with a very substantial white gold clasp with double finish, polish, and satin, and you can see inside Rolex's EasyLink 5mm adjustment system, present and correct for making on-the-fly adjustments. Rolex does give you a little bit of adjustability equivalent to adding or subtracting a full link if this were an Oyster bracelet. That's the equivalent of the EasyLink system. You'll also note the relatively complex internal mechanism, all itself white gold, that allows the system to close securely and solidly. And you'll note the Rolex attention to detail. When the clamshell is closed, it sits in a little recess that allows it to lie completely flat and flush with the case, with only a small kerf at center allowing you to get a purchase on the crown that serves as the shim for opening. Beautiful execution, Rolex level engineering. I should mention that the watch is not really white gold. It's what the industry calls gray gold. We can get close now that it's off the wrist. Keep it in focus. Gray gold is white gold, 18 karat. The difference is, unlike conventional white gold, which is a milky yellow alloy that's then rhodium plated to create the silver or white coloration, gray gold is solid. So if you scratch or scuff or dent gray gold, there's just more white metal underneath. And no matter how long you wear it, you never need to replate the rhodium layer because there isn't one. It's literally 18 karat white gold, just as you might imagine. And of course, Rolex makes its own cases, makes its own metal. They have their own foundry. This is a Rolex stamped and finished case in Rolex's own gray gold alloy. The bezel is a highlight. Cerachrom with platinum deposits. Everything you see that's a calibration, that's text, that's a numeral, that is a recess in the ceramic itself that's then platinum filled to create the color contrast. The bezel is what Rolex calls Cerachrom, a highly durable gloss black ceramic that offers an immense amount of scratch resistance, effectively as much as you get from a sapphire crystal. So if you're not one to dent, shatter, or chip a sapphire, chances are you're going to wear this bezel and it's not going to age, a welcome change from the lacquer-filled steel bezels of the past. The dial itself is what Rolex describes as steel with black counters, so the coloration, no surprise, is a distinctly steel-style metallic. It has a sunburst grain, so it's highly reactive in the light. Beautifully executed, it's also adorned with hand-placed white gold indices that are luminescent to match white gold hands. You'll note each of the sub-registers somewhat countersunk into the dial, with white on black print for high contrast, constant seconds at 6 o'clock, as with all in-house caliber Rolex Daytonas. There will be a lume shot at the end of this video so you can get a better sense of how the watch performs during the twilight hours and the night of the 24 hours of Daytona. And this is a question I often get. A lot of folks don't know the genesis of the name Daytona. Folks ask me why Rolex decided to name its chronograph after the Redneck Super Bowl. Well, the 24 hours of Daytona is actually the namesake of the watch. The race held at Daytona, initially a shorter enduro, later a 24-hour event, lends its name to this Rolex model. The Daytona 500, the race where NASCAR contestants drive tube-frame stock cars around in circles, ovals, for a couple of hours. That's an entirely different event, and truth be told, it's not the inspiration for naming the Cosmograph Daytona. In case you have any doubts, remember, the original Daytona was first named Le Mans after the Enduro in France that inspired the later 24 Hours of Daytona, keeping it within the endurance racing family. Now inside, caliber 4130, 44 joules, automatic winding, 3-day power reserve. It is very tough, free sprung balance with a full balance bridge, the two features combining to make the watch very shock resistant. It has a parachrom blue alloy hairspring for anti-magnetism, and the hairspring structure is an overcoil, so it beats concentrically and consistently in any orientation with respect to gravity, which helps the watch to earn its COSC chronometer certification. Rolex then recases the watch and tests it as a fully cased-up watch. The COSC standard is just for the movement. Rolex retests the watch to exceed the chronometer standard as a fully cased-up watch. The chronometer standard is -4 + 6 seconds. That's basically what it is. Tested over 2 weeks, it can't exceed that tolerance in any 24-hour period, whereas Rolex's standard is -2 + 2 seconds per day, no worse. Now, the timepiece also features hacking or stop seconds, so you pull the crown out after you thread it out, and then you will stop the movement, and I'll demonstrate exactly what that means. So if you wish, you can synchronize it to a race timer, even if you're following NASCAR. That's stop seconds or hacking, and the timepiece, thanks to its screw downs, has a 100-meter water resistance. Finally, the system features a vertical clutch and a column wheel. The vertical clutch enables the system to start without jump. If you notice on a lateral clutch, like you'll find in an Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch or a Zenith-powered Rolex Daytona, the lateral clutch means there's jump when the chronograph starts, somewhere between a second and 2 seconds. No such thing with the vertical clutch. Plus, with the vertical clutch, you can just leave the system engaged if you like to have seconds at center along with your minutes and hours. Just ignore the other registers. You can run it continuously with no hazard to the movement thanks to the vertical clutch. The column wheel makes for a crisp tactile sensation, and you can hear the distinctive click of the system as you engage and disengage it. It's the old school way to make a chronograph, and it is the purist's choice. This is a watch that offers almost everything you could want. A white metal that's discreet enough to wear in any situation, even with formal attire, water resistance, and the rubber strap that makes it an obvious companion for summer fun, and an all-time great name from an all-time great name in the industry, Daytona by Rolex. See and make this white gold Daytona with ceramic bezel yours for summer 2018.